Hello everyone, this is Lexicon coming at you with another commander list, and we're going to call this one the Walking Dead Humans. Um, I use the term loosely budget because the commander itself is about $60 on its own, but if you're playing this deck online, he is like almost dirt cheap as far as tickets go, maybe like point 0.1 or point 0.2, so you're not spending a lot to get him. So let's get into the deck tech. So Rick, the Steadfast Leader, is our commander. He's 4 mana. And when he enters the battlefield, you can choose 2 abilities from among First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. For me, most of the time I do First Strike and Vigilance, but it's completely up to you depending on the situation that you're in when you're playing the game. And then he has a cool Lord ability that says whenever you control 4 more humans, they get buffed. So let's look at the creature package. We're going to be playing Adeline to generate 3 tokens when we attack one of our opponents. We have the Auroch Champion, which is like another Soul Warden, but in this case it is 2 mana. Bard is here because it's a stacks ability, so your creatures cannot attack you or Planeswalker unless they pay 1 for each of their creature. Bastion Protector is to boost our commander, give it indestructible. Benalis Marshal is a lord. Boromir is in here just in case if opponent casts a spell with no mana to cast it, we counter it, and then we can sack it to give our creatures indestructible. And then the ring tempts us. Cemetery Prowler to exile either a land or a creature. So whenever we play a land or cast a spell, if it shares the same type, we'll make a token. Champion of the Pair is just a strong 1-drop, so every time another human ETBs, you put a counter on it. Copper Vanguard is to protect our other humans and give them Ward 1. Frontline Medic is in here because it has the Battalion ability, so if we do attack with 2 other creatures, they will gain indestructible. All creatures will gain indestructible, and then we can also sacrifice this to counter a spell if it has X in the mana cost, and they would have to pay 3 mana for it to resolve. Hanweir is in here to flip to its other side. So on its other side, its power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures you control, and at the beginning of our end step, we will make a white and black human cleric creature token and put it on the battlefield. Hero of Bladehold is here because of Battle Cry, and then whenever it attacks, it's going to make 2 soldiers that are tapped and attacking. Trumpet Adversary is here to pump the squad. Keeper of the Accord is in here just in case our opponents are ahead of us. They have more creatures. We make a 1/1 at the beginning of their end step, and then if they control more lands than us, then we can search our library for our planes and put it on a battlefield tap. Knights is a 2/2 creature with First Strike. And if an opponent, when it ETBs, and if an opponent controls more lands, we can put a plains onto the battlefield, then shuffle our deck. Quendi, Pride of Farameth, is a double strike creature that gives our creatures that already have first strike, give them double strike. Linden is a 3 mana 3/3 with vigilance that allows us to gain 1 life whenever a white creature attacks. The captain is here to tap other opponents' creatures. That way we can swing freely into them if we can tap multiple creatures in 1 turn. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we will generate a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Luminar Aspirant to put 1/1 counters on creatures during our battle step. Mangara the Diplomat is a 4 mana lifelink, and if an opponent attacked us with 2 or more creatures, we will draw a card, and if they do play a second card each turn, we will also draw a card. Mentor of the Meek is here to allow us to draw extra cards if another creature with power 2 or less ETBs. Runa Mothers is here to protect one of our creatures from the color of our choice. Odoric is a 4 mana first strike that says as long as we attack with 3 other creatures, we can choose how our opponent blocks. Reverent Half-Life is to generate a bunch of 1/1 white human creature tokens equal to our Devotion of White. Soul Warden for life gain whenever another creature comes into play. Soul's Ascendant with the same ability. Thalia's Lieutenant to put 1/1 counters on each other human creature when it ETBs, and then whenever another human enters, we put a 1/1 counter on itself. Thalia is a 2-mana first strike that can slow down our opponents by making non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. And then finally, Thalia Heretic Cathar is another first strike 3/2 that makes it so that creatures and non-basic lands our opponent control enter the battlefield tap. So it's kind of a heavier authority of the consoles, but it is a solid creature for 3 mana. As far as sorceries, we have Collective Effort, so it does have the escalate ability, and we would have to tap on tap creature to choose one or more modes. One will destroy a creature with power 4 or greater. We could also destroy an enchantment, or we could put a 1/1 counter on each target creature a player controls. Cut a Deal is giving our opponents 1 card, but since we are most likely playing in a pod with 3 other people, we will draw 3 cards off of this. Gather the Townsfolk is a sorcery that puts 2 tokens onto the battlefield, and if for some reason we're at 5 or less life, we'll have 5 instead. Sunsalt Reverie is another good 2-drop sorcery that says if opponent has more life, you gain 4 life. They control more creatures, you create 2/1/1 white human creature tokens, and then if they have more cards in their hand, we will draw a card. And then finally, our last sorcery is Visions of Glory. So we could create a human creature token for each creature on the battlefield, and then it has Flashback for 10, which says the spell costs X less to cast this way, where X is the greatest mana value of commander you control on the battlefield or command zone. So this is going to cost 6 mana instead of 10. And then for instance, we're playing Brave the Elements to give our white creatures protection from the color of our choice. Call the Coppercoats to make a bunch of tokens. Faithful Absence to remove a troublesome creature. Flawless Maneuver to cast for free if we control our commander to give it indestructible. Generous Gift as removal. Make a Stand to either pump our creatures or give them indestructible. Path of Exile to exile a creature. Rally for the Throne to make creature tokens, and if we did spend 3 white mana to cast it, we gain a life for each creature control. Reprieve to return a troublesome card to opponent's hand and draw a card. Swords to Plowshare to exile a creature, and Unbreakable Formation to either pump during the main phase or give our creatures indestructible. And then for artifacts, we're going to be playing Signet, Commander's Field, Heralded Banner, Icon and Accessory to bump our humans. Lightning Grease for protection, Marble Diamond for ramp, Skull Clamp for draw, Soul Ring for ramp, Boots for protection, Sword of the Animus is here to get lands from out of our deck and thin our deck, and Wayfarer Bauble to ramp us. And then for card draw, we're going to be playing Dawn of the New Age, which will enter with a hope counter for each creature we control. That our end step, we may remove a hope counter, and if we do, we draw a card, and then when there's no hope counters left, we will sacrifice this and gain 4 life. Flowering of the Tree as a Lord ability or Anthem ability to give our legendary creatures +2/+1 in Ward 1, and then everything else that's non-legendary get +1/+1. Force of Virtue, basically we can exile a white card from our hand rather than play its mana cost. We can flash this in, and then our creatures will get pumped. Ghostly Prison for attacks ability, which pairs well with the creature we talked about earlier that forces our opponent to pay 1 for each creature that's attacking us. So if this is on board 2, they will have to pay 3. Rally the Ranks to bump humans. Sanctuary Lockdown to bump humans and to tap a target creature an opponent controls. Taska's Welcome for card draw. And then Wedding Announcement to either generate white human creature tokens or to draw a card if we attack with 2 or more creatures. And then once it gets to its final stage, our creatures will get pumped. And then for lands, we're just going to be playing Castle Ardenwale to make tokens, Manators to draw cards if we attack with 2 or more creatures, Path of Ancestry to allow us to scry whenever we play a spell, whenever we cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with our commander. And then the Secluded Step is here to either be another source of mana or to cycle away to draw a card. And then Windbrisk Heights with Hideaway 4. Look at the top 4, we can put a card underneath it, and then if we attack with 3 or more creatures, we can pay 1 to tap this and then play the exile card without paying its mana cost. And then for tokens, we're going to be having a clue, an elephant, human, human cleric, human soldier, and a soldier, and the ring, and that's it. So this deck is a bit more expensive than the ones that I normally build, mostly because the commander itself is a $60 card. So if we do the math, this deck probably be like around 170, but it is still kind of dirt cheap to build on Moto. So if you like this deck, the video will be up on YouTube shortly with all the links to all my social media accounts. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube for future content. And I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.